Some places are merely dots on a map, but in the memory of history, they are wounds that never truly heal. One such wound lies in northern China, a coal mine where decades ago, thousands of men descended into the earth each day in search of a piece of coal, never knowing whether they would see the light of the sun again. They say every story begins on an ordinary morning. That day was no different. Before dawn had fully broken, the miners emerged from their modest homes one by one. Some carried a piece of bread for breakfast. Some smiled at their children before leaving. Others wore expressions that, in hindsight, seemed to foreshadow the future. They passed their families and entered the mouth of the mine that had provided their livelihood for years, the very mine the world would later know as Ben-Shi-Hu. As they descended deeper, the light became dimmer. The songs of birds gave way to the relentless sounds of pickaxes striking rock and mine carts rolling through narrow tunnels. The crisp air above ground was replaced by suffocating heat, and the only light came from the small lamps mounted on the miners' helmets. Working in a mine meant living with darkness as a constant companion. It meant breathing air heavy with coal dust and hoping that the rocky ceiling overhead would not collapse that day. Yet none of those men complained about the hardship. They worked for their families, for the bread that had to be on the table each evening. But the earth does not remain calm forever. Deep within the mine, where no human eye could detect the danger, methane gas was slowly accumulating, an invisible enemy with no voice, no warning, and no mercy. The miners continued their work. Pickaxes struck stone. Mine carts moved through the tunnels. Life, as always, carried on beneath the earth, until a single spark was enough. In an instant, the silence of the mine was shattered by a devastating explosion. The blast wave raced through the tunnels with terrifying force. Lamps went dark, the walls shook violently, entire sections of the mine collapsed. Coal dust and smoke filled every passageway. The air became unbreathable, and one by one, the escape routes were cut off. In that absolute darkness, no one knew where salvation lay. Cries for help echoed through the tunnels. Men pounded on solid rock, desperately searching for a way out. Some held tightly to one another. Some whispered their final prayers. Others still believed that rescue teams would reach them in time. But above ground, another tragedy was unfolding. Mothers, wives, and children rushed to the entrance of the mine as soon as they heard the explosion. No one spoke. They simply stared into the dark opening. Each time a rescue team emerged, dozens of hopeful eyes searched their faces. But with every passing minute, hope faded a little more. Hours passed. The day drew to a close, yet many of those who had walked into the mine under their own power that morning would never return. When the dust finally settled and the death toll became clear, the world was confronted with a number almost impossible to comprehend. Approximately 1,549 people had lost their lives. The Ben-Shi-Hu disaster became the deadliest mining accident ever recorded in history, a tragedy remembered not only for the explosion itself, but for the countless lives that were quietly extinguished in the darkness beneath the earth. In the years that followed, historians and researchers studied the disaster extensively. They pointed to the buildup of methane gas, coal dust explosions, harsh working conditions, and inadequate safety standards as the principal causes. Yet behind every technical explanation lies a simple truth. Every number in the casualty count was a human being, a man with dreams, a father whose children waited for him to come home, a son determined to build a better future for his family. Perhaps that is why the name Ben Shi Hu is no longer simply the name of a mine. It has become a symbol of the price humanity has sometimes paid in the pursuit of industrial progress and the extraction of natural resources. It reminds us that no mineral, no matter how valuable, is worth more than a human life. Today, many decades have passed from that tragic day. Technology has advanced, safety equipment has improved, stricter regulations have been introduced to protect miners around the world. Yet the memory of that explosion endures, not to frighten us, but to remind us that safety must never be sacrificed for haste, profit, or neglect. And perhaps every time a miner switches on the lamp fastened to his helmet and steps into the darkness below, the story of Ben Shi Hu is whispered once more through the pages of history. A story of men who descended into the depths of the earth to build a better future, yet remained forever within the darkness they sought to conquer.